Oh, that's a good idea. I feel so
Oh,
much
that's
better
what I'm doing.
in my studio. I want to have a
That's what
crazy
I'm doing.
sob story, but it's been challenging.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've been in two different hotels and camping since I've seen you all.
Oh, oh, I'm
Oh,
sort of
camping.
camping.
You are.
I'm doing a renovation on my tiny little cottage, plus there's no heat in it, and I'm here longer than I normally would be. So I'm living in my cottage, in my studio with a cot and a hot plate and a, whatever. I have a fridge.
Oh, really?
Anyway, but I'm fine.
Are you coming in as Connor, Luna?
Yes, so the
Okay.
iPad is it's my son's for school. I just didn't sign out. It was easier.
That's fine. I had a quick moment. Um,
I know.
you know why?
Yeah, I was there with you.
I did some introductions for this course and I thought I'll just invite everyone. And so I put the invitation out on Zoom. And have you guys heard of Zoom bombing?
No.
I got Zoom bombed and our dear friend Lavanya was with us and two other nice people that wanted to learn about this course and a perfect stranger who was like
Oh my goodness, yeah, 3 times
three
with
times.
How did
three.
you put the link up for people before they signed up?
No,
Oh.
it was an introduction. So it was like a
Oh,
answer,
oh,
and
oh,
I shared about the highlights of what we would be doing in the course
oh.
and
So how were they bombing? Were they rude? Is that what it was? Or they're just being disruptive?
kind of pornography would be the best way.
Okay.
Yeah. There was nudity. There was, I think the part that bothers me the most, I never really talked, I've talked about it a little bit, but the part was when he says, "Oh, Karina. Oh, Karina."
Yeah.
It was so hard not to take it personally, when my name
Oh,
was attached to like
yeah, that's
everything that he was
funny.
doing. But
That's funny.
I, it really was, when I was a teenager, these guys tried to attack me and tried to rape
Oh,
me,
that's
right? I
terrible.
got away.
Oh,
And even
Mm.
though it was on the internet, it was like the same feeling of someone really
yeah, violating. You feel violated.
cheating. I was like, I gotta
That's
go home
all
and like
it
take
is.
a shower. This was just like, like just clean my space, like
Yeah,
anyway. So
yeah.
I never really followed up with you how it was for you.
Um, it was educational. I learned, the things that could happen.
Yeah. So we have all kinds of securities and this like only goes out to you guys and
Right. Okay.
even when I do connect and create, you sign into a thing, but I learned, because people complained because I had like you had to go to Eventbrite to sign in.
Oh,
And they said it's too complicated, Karina. Can't you just send the link out, for some because I started doing more things in COVID, you know, online. And you guys, I'm just gonna wear a tank top because it's really hot in here. I was trying to look more professional, but it's really hot in here. It's very muggy,
Is muggy today.
really muggy.
not where I am.
Oh yeah, you're getting snow soon, right?
I was in 4 layers today and hats and gloves.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
now it's cold.
Well,
It's fine now. I'm happy.
it's like 40s. We get 40s in winter,
Yeah.
and it's already 40s here. So
Oh,
Really? What is it for us, Loon? I haven't looked at the weather today.
All I've looked at for the weather is the gusts are going to get up to 60 for tomorrow morning.
all right.
So
All
be
right. You're,
inside.
oh, oh, wow. We're all in different parts of the world.
Well, I thought it might be nice just to take a couple minutes of sharing like things that are wins, things that you're working on. I want to take note. And so, what I want to acknowledge one thing. I have, I think, on 2 different occasions said that I was going to upload things for you guys, and I have not done that. And I'm not going to say I feel terrible, but I thought about it today, and it was like I just thought when I saw your letter, Susan, this morning. I drove 6 hours today to go install an exhibition,
Oh,
and
oh,
just got back a little while ago. And so I want to let you know that you guys are important to me, and what you're up to is important to me. And I don't want it to be a reflection that it doesn't matter because I haven't uploaded things that you're looking for and you want. Okay.
mhm.
And so I apologize about that because that's not my best self. And my second go to is Iris, who's my assistant, and her dad got really sick and she went to Guyana.
Oh,
So
oh,
this
no.
week has just not been my best reflection. And I'm
Oh,
not saying this to feel sorry for myself. I just want to like express, because when I saw your letter, I was like, oh God, I think I did say I was going to put that up. And I just feel like I'm like living in an avalanche right now. And I'm just
yeah.
trying to, like have stable internet somewhere so that I can be present
Right, right.
and
Yeah, it's a
moving
crazy
around
time.
and kind of coming to the conclusion that most of my possessions have to be, dealing with insurance. And I talked,
Right.
well, it was like a vacation today, working all day, going up and down ladders and setting up a gallery exhibition because, I didn't have to talk about mold unless I was making a stupid joke about it.
Right.
But mostly I've been talking about mold.
Right.
And
Well, Corinna, if there's anything, I'm the only one that's local for you. So if there's anything, just text me that I
okay.
can do. Yeah. let
And
me
I'm
know.
not saying this for you guys to feel sorry for me or anything like that, but it was like when I saw your letter, Susan, you're like, I'm writing this letter to this museum and I really want to see a copy. And I was just like, I cannot do that. And I know I said that I would. So I just really wanted to apologize. And my promise is that I will look for the best copy of the letter to upload it. But the other thing you could do is you could post it in the Facebook group and I could make comments like,
Right. I haven't written it yet.
oh, you haven't
But
written it yet. Oh,
no, I wrote a letter to a writer and she responded,
oh,
but I'll tell you in my time that I get
oh,
to.
okay, good.
upload.
So I'm not trying to like have you guys feel sorry for me or anything
Right.
like that. And I want to let you know, like inside of all of everything crazy that's happening, like I'm still managing my art business, and my life.
Right.
And last couple Mondays ago, I was like, usually Iris helps me do applications because they drive me crazy when you're uploading things. I'm like, ah. But there was one and I hadn't talked to her about it and I didn't want it to be like last minute. Can you do this one? Because I feel like it's rude. And so I thought it's an easy one. I'll do it. I liked what the curator had to say. And the show is called The House is on Fire.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's kind of political. And I have one body of work that I did that's pretty political, right? And it's about the state of America. It's about stuff that's happening racially. It's about, just all this stuff. And I have this whole body of work that I made that's the guns and the targets and things like that. So I'm going to give you a synopsis of a couple things that have happened. And then I just thought I'd give you guys each a time to share a little bit. And I sent you all a rejection letter because I want to let you guys know I apply for a ton of stuff, right? And in 1 week, I got into a show so I thought, oh, it's too late to ask Iris, this house on fire, but I really like the curator, and I'm going to talk to you a minute about curators too. Curators are your best friends.
Right.
Andy. They're the best thing for your career and they're great people. They love artists. That's why they're curators. So in 1 week, I applied for the show by myself. I think we had a big application the week before and I was just like, whew. And I got in and then today, and I have to go to Kentucky to drop the work off or get
Oh
it to
my
someone
God.
or mail it. And it's very cumbersome. And I think that mailing it's going to be a bad idea, but it has to get there by next week. So I haven't even had a chance to think about it, but it's been like this, oh, why did I do that? I even said that today while we were installing. So I opened my email in the car on the way home. I was a passenger. I won Best in Show.
Oh my gosh, that's
I didn't
great.
know there was like awards attached. So, I mean, I applied and it was due at midnight and I'm not going to lie. When I do it by myself, I procrastinate. I've set up a support structure because I hate doing those online applications.
Right.
But it's part of it. I have a person that I pay to help me do that stuff. But I have to get her all the information, and I hadn't done that, but I wanted to apply anyway, because I really liked who the curator was, who the juror was. I wanted my work to be in front of her.
Mm.
And so I sent it out. And today I got a congratulations letter. I won Best in Show. And today I was complaining, am I going to go to Kentucky? Oh, why did I even apply for the show? And I got a rejection letter. I don't even know what it was that I applied for. It was something, but what I want to let you know is there was a time in my life that I wouldn't apply for things because it was hard. It was
Right.
cumbersome. I didn't think my pictures were good enough. I didn't think my work was good enough. And most of all, number 5, the big one, I hated getting rejections.
Mm.
I would take it personally. I'm not wanted. I'm not loved. My work's not good enough. I'm not good enough. I suck. Why bother even try making art? I want you to know that. Oh, okay. I just want you to know that it hasn't been my whole life, right?
Right.
And Oh, and we had a huge installation last week also, a 12-foot piece of art in a law office on
Oh,
ladders, you know what I mean? Like it was an insane week, you know? And then we installed a show today. So, and I didn't want to have assistants. You know why? I didn't want to pay them to be in the car for 6 hours. So I was like, I'll just hang the show myself. I hate
oh.
doing shows. You know, I do so much better when I have a team. So
Mm.
I wanted to share a little from my life, and I've had to evacuate my house, and I've been in 2 different hotels.
Mm.
So I'm just sharing, and again, I'm not trying to get you to feel sorry for me. I'm just saying that, like, you set things up. Do you know what I mean? And then even tonight, I had this splitting headache coming home, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I should email them. You know, but I took some Advil, I sat outside, I got some tacos, got some air, and now I'm here with all of you. Okay. So sometimes you don't want to do stuff.
Mm.
And we had a little assignment to make a list of all the things that you do and all the things that you don't like doing, all the things that only.
Were we supposed to do that? I didn't do
Yes, and I talked about it in the course. I didn't write you up a little message like I normally do and put it in the
Oh.
Facebook group
Yeah.
because of the hotels and the flood and the mold and all that
Right.
stuff. So I thought we could take a little time today to
Yeah,
talk
it is.
about that,
Mhm.
you know, because I have in mind a resource list for you all. And there are a couple people that I've gone to, like, oh, and I won the award in Ohio, Chicago. Did I tell you that?
A different one?
No, same one.
I think the
Oh.
city one, right? The one you were doing for
Oh,
city.
did we know that last weekend?
Oh, that's great. So boy, you've got a lot
Not the
going
award
on.
part, but you going and doing a presentation.
Yeah, I
Sure,
went to the
that's it,
presentation in Chicago,
Oh,
and
wow.
I got the letter. Was that before we met? Was that
And
after?
how did you, was it something you applied to? Is that what it was? And then you won it. So it's a lot of your effort that brings in these things. I mean, it's not like they're falling out of the sky. No,
no.
it's all
And
your effort. Yeah.
I will tell you the truth. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that application. Is this good for you guys, or is it like, let me share
Yes.
what I'm dealing with? It's good.
No, no,
Okay.
thank you.
Because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of times that I'm like, why am I doing all this? I just want to, I said to my friend today, I was like, I just want to go take a nap.
Yeah.
I want a long nap. And then the
Mm.
insurance adjuster said, can I meet you between 9 and 10? I was like, I'm busy until 10. I have another commitment, but I'll be at 10
Right.
for tomorrow. So let me tell you about the Chicago thing, okay? Because how it worked is I send out, sometimes there's what they call an there's RFP and RFQ, right?
Mm.
And one of them is that you're just applying to be in a show. You never remember which one's an RFP and RFQ, okay? But one means that you're just applying to be in a show, like a gallery show, or maybe for a public art thing, and they're going to just pick someone. And then sometimes it's the RFQ is that they're going to create a small pool and then they'll select from that. So they're weeding people out, and you just send your portfolio in, right? You just send your portfolio in. If they like the work you do, then you're what's called shortlisted. So I was shortlisted for the Chicago thing.
Mm.
Now, in my big vision, right? Remember the name of the course? My big vision, I'm a nationally and internationally renowned artist. Now, I have work in all the states that touch Georgia. Okay. I have permanent work in all the states that touch
Right.
Georgia, but I don't have anything in Chicago, which gets me closer to being a nationally known artist. I went and made a
Right.
presentation for the mayor of that office of the
Right.
it's Freeport, just outside of Chicago. So inside of the one in Chicago, I was what's called shortlisted. Okay. So there were 4 of us. I asked how many other people, and what she did is she sent me their websites, and I looked at them and I thought, oh my God, this guy's work is really great. This person's work
Oh.
sucks. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I like not knowing better, you know?
Mhm.
But I'm not like a competitive person, like I gotta be the best, I gotta be the best. But if I'm almost gonna get something, I'll tell you what I hate. I hate being second.
Mm.
I hate getting close to being selected for something and then not getting it. So if I get that far in the race, I will sprint all the way to the end. And so I will tell you, I spent $1,500 on my proposal. I hired a
Wow.
videographer.
Oh, wow.
We made a film. I did scale drawings, you know, pen and ink drawings that were in watercolor.
Hmm.
I didn't put my time into that, but of other people that I paid to do stuff. Okay. I had the concept. I threw away ideas. I brainstormed it. I procrastinated, all those things, but I came up with a scale drawing, a model in metal, right? A miniature version. I use 1 inch to a foot because it's easy math, and math's not my strongest. And then I took my drawings and I brought them to a guy that can make computer engineered drawings that look really slick. And then I
Mhm.
mounted them on foam core. And I worked with graphic designer. So let's see, I worked with a graphic designer and we made these beautiful magazines that they could take away because there's a committee. So what they did is they wanted me to come and present to a committee.
Hmm.
The mayor, the arts council,
Wow.
people from the town, the director of the museum, and the director of the Arts Plaza, right? So there was a whole crowd of people that I was going to be giving a PowerPoint presentation to. Now that would be the
Wow.
cheapest thing. Just do a PowerPoint presentation, Karina. But no, I did a PowerPoint presentation. I showed previous work in that. I showed my beautiful pen and ink drawings. I showed the engineered drawings mounted on foam core, 2 of those that show like the footer in the basement, in the underground, and the model and the video. I think that's it. And I had some metal samples, just straight pieces of metal, copper, stainless steel, and blah, blah, blah. And then I had a written budget and I had this beautiful magazine. So I don't know, I lost count. There were over 5 people that I worked with to make this presentation because I have great skills for coming up with an idea, for executing a model, for making a scale drawing. Those are my skills. But if I showed up with that, well, it wouldn't be that impressive, but I might get it. I might be selected.
Wow.
Now, and I hired someone to edit my essay
Ah,
who used to work in public art, Lisa Tuttle. So my promise is
uh-huh.
this week, I'm going to give you guys a little resource list. So you'll have some people
Right.
that if you want to hire to do things, okay?
Mhm. Right.
Now, in the beginning, we don't have big budgets. Maybe you just pick one thing, like you find someone who's a graphic designer and they help you make a pretty postcard or something like that, okay? I didn't always make a magazine booklet. So why am I telling you guys all this?
You're asking? You're telling us so we know. I mean, I really get, I think that when you do a big proposal, like that, an important one, I think it's not, obviously, it's not just the work. They're also seeing how professional you are, the fact that you can carry off a big project with a lot of details, because they want to make sure that, yeah, you could be the most amazing, conceptualist and artist, but if you can't make a project happen, can't throw together a team to do it, they're not going to want you because they need to know that they can get that project done. That's what I'm finding, that I think that people feel confident when you are organized and you have a nice presentation. And, anyway, that's my answer.
That's a great answer. Anyone else know why I'm telling you all these things?
Maybe that's not why you're telling us.
No, that's part of it. It's totally part of it, Susan. And there's not one right answer and not one wrong answer.
Right.
I did it to start a dialogue because remember I gave you guys an assignment.
I can go. I can see for myself that it's not just you doing things on your own. You put a team together to get kind of balance those parts that you're not good at,
Yes.
and kind of that supports and creates a great proposal.
Yes.
And in fact, I happen to notice your drawings, like the under the ground with the concrete and the nails, and I thought, wow, because I never saw that on any of your pictures so far, and it caught my eye because of my architecture background. Like I saw all the scale drawings, and I thought, wow, I wonder if she does this with everything. How did I not see it till now? So it. I think what I saw is it took away a lot of the guesswork, and it was clear. Like it was clear. You need this. You need that, and these are all the pieces that make it work as structure, and they're not doing the thinking for you, so you've done it and taken it, and it also expresses that you're probably more proficient to work with, right? That's what I can see they would have been left with as an impression.
Thank you. Exactly. And Susan, everything you said is also exactly, right? Anything you want to say, Luna?
Um, well, could I give you my reaction to what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay. So for me, it's not that I can't do the presentation and stuff because I do that type of thing. For me, it's more that I get overwhelmed with all the steps and then I freeze and I can't do anything.
Right.
And so then I just don't apply because I'm frozen because I have too much to do and looking at the list makes me tired already.
Yeah.
And so like having it broken out and then being able to delegate it like I would at work means I could apply and I could accomplish things on the list. So that's what it gives me.
That's great. That's perfect. That's really perfect. So thank you each for like, allowing me to be an example of, and I didn't used to always do it that way, but on big projects, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I'm sitting in my painting studio, I mean, I love working all by myself and just painting and spilling paint on the paper, and like thinking, does that look good? Let me put a little more on there. I love that part of me also, but I have an engineer side to me and a builder. And I would say I have, I keep using my own word. I have a big vision that I'll have large scale permanent pieces around the world.
Mm. I know that will be, that
I
will be
want there to
something,
be something monumental left when I'm gone.
right.
Now, is it ego? Is it, just dreams and aspirations? It's just a vision that I had when I was in high school. I made a silver bracelet and I had a moment where I held that piece of metal. It's right on the other side of the wall. I might show you. And I had a moment where I thought, I want to make large scale sculpture. I think I can do this. I need to go to a school that has welding and foundry, and I like making other art too. I love painting. But in the last couple of years, I started working on that more.
Where did you go?
I went to Massachusetts College of Art right around the corner from you in Maine.
Oh, okay.
There's so many great schools there. I mean, that New England is great for schools.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so you all really touched on something really great when and I want to show you one other thing too. There's two other things I want to share with you about this before we start talking about you all individually. And what I thought we could do is we can kind of use this as a workshop. You know what I mean? If that works for you. I have some stuff planned to share with you, but I thought we could kind of take like, I'm working on this and we could brainstorm with each other a little bit. Does that sound like a good idea?
Sure.
And we could work on those lists together a little bit. And then I'll refine, I have some ideas of who I want to send you as resources. But that's what I'm thinking. How does that sound to you?
Good.
Okay, great. Less lecture, a little more conversation. So one other thing that I did on this is I researched the geography of that place. So I educated myself on the riverways. The Indians that used to live in that place are the Algonquin Indians. And I know the names of the rivers. And when I met the mayor, I said, it's so great to meet you. I've read letters that you've written that were published, but I've never met you before. Do you know what does that show? That I know the names of the rivers and I know the names of the Indians that live there, that maybe they don't even know the names of the Indians because it's not common, but it's important to me.
You educated yourself. It shows that you, I don't know, you went a little step further,
Yeah, I researched.
researched.
Public art is a legacy for a town or a city. It's something that says something about who they are. And if someone comes in and they plunk something down, it's a plunk down piece. And they might just love it. And it could be because it's a great artist, right? But there's something about creating something that touches the hearts of the people who will be with it because they will live with that work long after I get in my truck and drive away or
I had
airplane
a
or whatever.
question.
What?
I had a question. It just occurred to me. Did you propose a work of body that you were going to make, or your proposal was already what you made before that you
Okay.
kind of connected
Yes, there were two
to?
steps. Um, could probably show you guys the PowerPoint presentation if you wanted, or something like that, if you want.
Yeah.
So to answer, the first step to be in the first step to be on the short list, I proposed my portfolio. So
Okay.
I work with certain images: boats, waters, birds, nests, ladders, trees.
Right.
Those are the images that are recognizable in my sculpture that I work with. So I proposed, and I think I could show 10 images or something to that extent. So out of showing those 10 images, then they made a short list of people's work they liked. And then they said, propose something for our,
Okay.
and that's what I proposed. And does that make sense? So there were 2 phases. The
So yeah.
first phase,
You're not now going to make them, right? They're
Yes, no,
they're commission pieces, like that's a special commission.
yeah,
Okay, because that kind of makes sense to the question you're asking. You know, what does that go to show? I think that was like the bridge between what they're looking for to your work, like doing the research and connecting it.
yeah,
That gives your proposal, like you speak to their concern rather than just hand them what you make and right.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. And I went back when I started designing it, I went back and I looked at the portfolio of images that I submitted to them. Because it would be weird if I just came up with a whole new style.
Mm.
Right.
So I reflected on work,
Right.
went back and I looked at it. And when I hired the person to write the essay, no, I wrote an essay. I hired someone to edit my essay. So I did my research. My grammar is not perfect, you guys. It's something I've never conquered. I've never taken the time and energy to become a masterful at having good grammar or great grammar or correct grammar for that matter. I've always depended on other people to help me with that. Now, sometimes I feel like I should be a better writer, you know, but that's why they make editors. So, and same with those drawings, Lavanya, you know, that you said, I never saw you do those engineer drawings. You know what? I don't know how, but every year I say, maybe this will be the year I'll learn how to draw on the computer.
Right. And where were those? Where were the images you said? Of the
I
engineer
put it
drawing?
on social media.
Oh, okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah. So the other thing I did is with the videographer, I took my watercolor paintings and I got a view of the park because I had an engineered drawing of the park, you know, like, you know, those computer generated ones.
Mhm.
We placed my work in the park.
Mm,
Mm.
that's
They
right.
could see it. I could see it. Now, you guys
The
aren't all
work-
gonna be
Plus
public.
this, you placed work, not the one, not the drawing you proposed, not the piece you're proposing, but just one of your pieces to show them what your work would look like. No, it was
I-
after.
I put the drawing that I made of the piece
Oh, the drawing of the piece that you
in
proposed.
a drawing that they had of the environment.
So
so
this was the second round.
Yeah, in the second round. This is the
Sec-
piece that I
Oh,
designed.
that's the piece that you proposed after they put you
Yeah.
in the short list, put you on the
Yeah.
short list.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
They said, come back to us with an idea. We
Yes,
want to see something.
yeah.
I
Here's
don't know what.
me with my presentation.
Oh,
I'll upload it on our Facebook page.
nice.
There's me with my presentation. And I just given the slide presentation. I noticed I dressed very professional, but funky. Oh, and here's the engineer drawing.
Mm, wow. Yeah. And so somebody did that for you.
Yeah,
based on
from
your-
my drawing.
Right.
I
And it
should
was to
show you-
scale? It was it to scale?
Yeah, and I did mine. I use 1 inch to a foot because it's easy.
Oh, right. You said an inch to a foot.
Let me see if I can find the one. I'm sorry, I'm showing you guys this on my cracked screen phone. My phone, I need to get fixed, but it has a cracked screen on it. But then, like, do you know in like the 50s or whenever the TV first came out or movies first came out, there was this thing and they called it, for some reason, there we go. They used to call it eat popcorn. And so there'd be these subliminal messages and you'd get up, you'd be like, God, I gotta go get popcorn.
Oh,
They
that
made
was
it illegal.
subliminal messaging.
Yeah, they made it
Subliminal
illegal.
messaging. Yeah, they did that.
They did.
Right.
But-
I read it. I remember that.
But
don't-
I had the drawing of the piece, right? And then I worked with an artist that knows how to work in the computer, my videographer actually, and he overlaid the image into the image of the park, the drawing of the park that the architects rendered. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so I call it eat popcorn. So I showed it 3 times in my PowerPoint presentation. And I kept referring back to it and them having the legacy of this piece, right? Because I wanted them to visualize it
Mhm.
as much as I wanted to, I mean, I don't like coming in second. It's no fun. We thought you made great work. Thank you for applying. I
Yeah.
could have gotten that letter. I didn't, though. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's the
But
one.
Karina, it's not eat popcorn. People do that all the time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. How does that,
So-
that's really, it's large. That boat is, I mean, how do you, it's not top heavy? I mean,
Well, that's why I said, okay,
you
so
need an
now let me
engineer,
tell
you need an engineer.
tell me I'll tell you what I delegated to them. So they have a budget, okay? And they said, we want you to do X, Y, Z, and A and B, okay? And so I wrote up my budget and I said I would do X, Y, Z. I'm going to ask you to do B and C, and I'm going to donate $4,000 worth of material.
Right,
Okay. So the things I asked them to do was have their structural engineer
right,
for the city, because if they can engineer a light post that cantilevers over a
right.
whole, you ever seen those light posts? I want that engineer to say that we have the right size concrete. I said, I'm guessing about this concrete, but you don't want the piece to be someone to be guessing about this. So
Right.
inside the budget, they wanted me to pay for concrete ahead of time. Before I even sent my proposal, I said, listen, I think we should have the people pouring the sidewalks pour the concrete. Why? Because I want to give you the best sculpture I can with your budget, which isn't a very big budget. I'm just going to tell you right now. I mean, it's thousands of dollars, but I'm doing this project because I'm really excited about it and they can tell. And I told them, I see myself as a national artist and this is a step towards that. I operate very locally. I want to do the project.
Right.
But I asked them to have their engineer look at the drawings. I'm going to have to provide engineer drawings. And I said, this is what I suggest for the footer, but I want your engineer to approve that.
Right.
That way, if it falls, who's
Right.
going to come sue me? They're going to sue them before they sue me
Wow, you don't want to be responsible.
because it's cantilevered.
And different geography has different, like Dallas has clay. There's a lot of settling foundations. So it takes into account their geography, which you're not familiar with.
Yep. So I gave them a line item. I said every single thing I would do, which were the things they asked, right? And I line ited them out with like what it was going to cost. And I said, I have leftover material from a project. The total value is $4,527. I'm willing to use that on the project. I'm also asking you to have the crane, which is going to be in the neighborhood of $1,000 on site, and have your engineer look at the drawings and pour the concrete. And they suggested do the lighting, so I put that in too. I had forgotten to put that in.
I have a
They
question.
wanted it lit. What?
So when you, so when you're going to do the install, do their people, like, do you have to hire a team of people to work the crane or to install, or do you have to bring all your own people?
Collaborative effort. I told them I'll bring one studio assistant and I would really like some city, usually if it's for a city,
Yeah.
they'll have city workers
Right.
come and be second hands,
Right, right.
and a crane. And I said, I don't want to mess with not doing it right. And any
Right.
installation, and in my video, I show my sculptures being moved with cranes. I always think a crane's a good idea. And
Right,
it costs something, it costs $600 to $1,000
Right.
usually.
right. When
But
I did the wharf in DC, they had a sign company come and install.
Yeah.
Because I said, and I talked to their engineer and I said, I need to speak to the engineer of the building because, I want to make sure that this is not going to fall down.
Yes.
So anyway, it's really, and one of the things I just pushed myself to do it. And because, I'm not at a point where you are, where I've done all these projects where I know what I can get away. Like, I don't really know what I can get away with, but I'm learning that I just have to ask. I mean, this is what I require. This is what I need for it to be right. And look, they could say, no, we don't do that. But most of the time everybody said yes, like, okay, sure, you know. I sort of tell them what I need and
Yes,
because they don't know, they just know they want a piece of art.
yeah,
And you're
exactly.
the expert.
If you go in there and you say, listen, I don't want anyone to get hurt
Right, right.
on this installation. We've got people up there on ladders. This thing is heavy. If we have a machine that's operated, and never let them use a backhoe. They like to use a backhoe sometimes. Okay, don't. Just say no. Okay, well, I wanted to make this relevant also to people who might be making a large scale painting, or maybe you want to propose something for, a lot of times, like public buildings want art. There's art
Mhm.
collections that happen for libraries.
Mhm.
There's art collections that happen for municipal spaces like courthouses. You know, it doesn't always have to be a big metal sculpture or a large rope sculpture. I'm just saying that, Susan. You know what I'm saying? It could be a beautiful painting, or it could be a small scale sculpture that's intimate, Luna, that would go in a library. Or, you know, there's a lot of public spaces, and public spaces are great. Do you know why public spaces are great?
Because the city pays. I don't know why.
Public sees it.
Oh, the public sees
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Public
right.
sees art in public spaces. Now, I have a personal belief that public art is art for everyone.
Mhm.
There are only certain people that go into a museum or a gallery.
Right.
Now, art collectors go into museums and galleries. People who are, you know, on the intellectual side of, you know, on the intellectual side of things. And what needs to happen is that there is a, you know, what needs to happen is that there's art in public spaces, even parks. Like, I used to participate in this public art project. A temporary public art projects are great also.
Hmm.
You can Google temporary public art projects, because that means that the city, it's like an art on loan. And so cities buy paintings and they put them up temporarily in libraries or various other things.
Do they buy them or do they ask that you just put them up? And I mean, a lot of places do. They just want you
Pay
to
you.
look at the art.
They pay you.
Oh,
You're a professional. I have a sculpture that the city of Atlanta is leasing from me for 3 years, and I'm being paid $3,000, and it's just sitting there.
right. Hmm. And I remember I joined the public art thing and organization in Atlanta. I guess there must be some in every city.
Yeah. Almost every city has, like, we have Fulton County Council for the Arts, and we have
Right.
Bureau of Cultural Affairs,
Right.
right?
Right. Check it out.
So those things are there. Okay.
Yes.
Now, private collectors are great,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
private collectors usually pay with a checkbook or a credit card, and you don't have to invoice and wait for a long time and do all that negotiating. I do a percentage. The fastest money that comes my way is from private collectors.
You said you do a what? What did you say? A discount? What did you say? A percentage? What
Checkbook
do you mean
or,
percentage?
or credit
No, what
card.
do you mean when you said you do a percentage?
Oh, a percentage of the artwork. So I remember in the very first class I talked about that I had this trifecta,
Oh, right.
right?
Right.
So
Grants and private collectors and
Yeah.
then something else. Right.
yeah.
Workshops.
My
right.
mold expert's calling me, but I told her I'm gonna call her later. You can hit that button. I'll call you later. So I can joke about it now. What was my train of thought? So ask what you said, Susan.
Oh, I was, yeah, we were just talking about your different.
Oh, trifecta.
Percentage. You say use the word percentage. I thought you meant you give them a discount. I didn't know what you meant.
No,
You
no,
mean
no,
a certain percentage of your income comes from private collectors.
I myself have created what I like to call a trifecta. So
Right,
inside of that trifecta, I have commission work
right.
that someone pays me. Now, the best part about a commission, I'll tell you the best part about a commission, is that you get a check in the beginning.
Right.
Sometimes you get a check in the middle, and then you get a check at the end. I never ever install anything unless it's paid in full.
Right.
Only one time in my life did I make that mistake.
Did
Mm.
it work out?
$4,000.
Did it work out or did you get screwed?
I got screwed. The
Oh,
only
really?
time
Yeah.
I went against my own contract.
Yeah, I only do it unless it's, well, that's not true. Actually, I've gotten paid after, but
I
Yeah.
had this designer that just was terrible to work with, and I
Oh,
should have made the
designer.
signs and I didn't. And in my contract, it says, so I'm going to make a list of some things that I am going to give to you to look at as resources. I think contracts are one, right? Do you guys want to know a little more about commissions? Is that something that would be helpful?
Yeah, in fact, I had a question. I got a commission recently and I didn't talk up front. It didn't go through about being paid half. I did the project and they didn't like it and they're now looking at it. So I didn't talk up front about being paid 50%. So it may look like I've done the work and they're not buying it and I'm not getting paid for my time either. So it was good because I learned my lesson. I learned what I need to put in place. I need to have a contract. But I agreed to paint something that I'd already done, like a reproduction. And I'm not able to do that. And so it looks like for now, I don't want to do commissions, but I know there's a lot of money in it. Like a lot of people want commissioned art. And so I'm kind of in that place where I'm looking at, can I even do it? Is it worth it? Or I'm not confident about it. So it's,
You want to talk about
yeah,
commissions?
I'd like to.
a little?
I
can I
don't even
make a
know
comment?
how to acquire in a commission. That seems like
Daunting.
so far removed. I mean, from all the other things we've talked about, like the
How-
gallery route or public art, but this is just like over there.
Yes. Okay,
Like,
great.
when you're not prepared and it comes your way, catches you off guard and you don't have anything prepared. Like, I didn't have any, like, usually I heard artists charge a little more than their regular art for commissions. And I didn't think of that. I didn't know that. And they picked a painting that was the similar size. And I forgot to update the price on that painting on my website. And so I agreed to a lower than regular painting price. And so, it,
It's all learning lesson. I mean, you just learn from that.
yes.
Can I make one comment about what Lavanya said about
Yeah.
not wanting to do, when I was making jewelry, people wanted me to make, oh, would you make me this? And I really didn't want to make things that people asked me to make. I didn't want to do commissions. So I just said, I just don't do that. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I did one once, but pretty much I decided I was going to make what I want to make, and you buy it. If you like it, you buy it. If you don't, that's what I have. This is what I have. I mean, I didn't
Right.
say it nasty like that. I'm just saying that was my philosophy. And then when now that I'm doing the rope, I mostly only do commissions.
Right. Yeah.
But I just feel like, because there's so many ways, once you decide, if you really don't want to do commissions, and maybe you would take one when you get maybe more experience doing it, you just find other ways of creating, your market. Like maybe you'll do a craft show, you'll make all your pieces and then you'll go and figure out how you're going to sell them, whether it's your website or you just don't wait
Yeah.
around for commissions. You just do it a different way. And if you're doing commissions, then you might go in a different route. That's all I want to say.
Right.
All right.
And
do
then
you-
can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing? to
Yeah.
Luna?
yeah.
And then my other thought about what Luna said, that she sort of feels like it's so daunting, she can't even picture, is that if you once you get your work out there, and I don't know exactly which work you're doing, but once you're selling your pieces, people will say, oh, I would love one. I wish it was in pink or blue or, or whatever, or I wish the guy the thing was doing this or that. And before you know it, people are asking you, it may not be a ton of them, but people will start to want a specific thing that you don't have available. And it'll just be very organic how it'll happen. That's what I want to say.
Awesome. Anything else you want to say about acquiring commissions, Luna? No. So if it's a route that you think that you might want to go, there are some ways that you can. I mean, the first part is make the work you want to make, because the work that you make is the work that other people will see. And then when other people see that work, then they will potentially want more. But you have to put your heart and soul into what it is that you want to make. And I have the point of reference, Luna, of your I want to say baby doll heads. What do you call them? So I don't use the wrong name.
I call them doll heads or doll
Oh,
sculpture.
Okay, yeah, because I remember when you came to my studio, you made some.
Mhm.
So, you want to make a few things. Now, early on in my career, I made a calla lily once. Well, this one collector, she loved this calla lily. She hired me to make a calla lily this, a calla lily that. You know what a calla lily is? It's a big, like Frida Kahlo holds them. She had me make this, and I met her after my studio was robbed.
Oh,
She'd always admired my work at someone else's house. My studio was robbed. Everything was gone. And this person came to me and said, would you make this? And would you, I mean, all of a sudden I made the most expensive at that time. $2,000 was the most expensive. I'd never made anything more than $1,000, and she commissioned me to make a chair. There was all these lilies on it and a butterfly, and it was kind of complicated and fun. So, about getting commissions, it's really like I used to make candlestick holders. You know what I mean? And people would see the candlestick holders and they'd say, I saw that one at so-and-so's house. Do you think you could make me one that will hold 6 candles that I can put in the center when I entertain, center of my table when I entertain? And they were low, and people liked that because they could talk over them. I mean, I didn't do it that way on purpose. I just did it because it was fun to make, And I would sell these for, I don't know, under $1,000, a couple $100 each, and I'd make different shapes, and they were organic knots of metal with a thing you could put a candle on, I used to make them in college too, to make a little extra money. And then I would bring them to the store. And then one day I invited the lady. It's always about sharing who you are as an artist that gets you work. I told you how I got the commission on the airplane, you know what I mean? Flying to Mexico.
I forgot.
And then we shipped to New York. So, but when I was in college in Boston, I was making sculpture. I was learning about forging. I showed you guys my crown, right? They called me the
Yeah, something. Wow. It's beautiful.
It's fun.
Is it heavy?
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I wore that for graduation.
Wow.
Oh no.
It's by my computer because I showed someone the other day. So there was a little shop, Luna, and I had skills, but I was busy doing papers in school and all kinds of things. And I made these little candlestick holders and I brought them to this shop called Fire Opal. I really liked the lady that owned it. And I just went in one day and I admired it, had handmade stuff, glass blowing and things like that. And I said, I make these, and I made jewelry at the time too. So I had a handmade chain, a little cuttlefish casting necklace, little pendants and things. And I said, would you like to sell some of my work here? I like the work you make, and maybe it would go well. So I would make these candlestick holders, and I mean, they were probably maybe $100. I probably sold everything for $50 because I thought that was a good idea, and but not much money is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And she had a shelf and it had my work and it had a little with my name. It was super cute. And then one day I went in and I said, we're having a sculpture show. Would you like to come? I'll never forget this. She stood there in the gallery and she said, you bring me all these candlestick holders, but you're a sculptor. You're an artist. She said, I want to get this sign. She said, could I commission you to make a sign for my shop? It's called Fire Opal. And she used the theme from the tarot card, the Fool. It's like this guy, and he's holding this like a hobo pack, and he's got this cute little dog. He's at the edge of the cliff. And she wanted the name Fire Opal. And so I went to a junkyard and I found the piece of stainless steel and I plasma cut it out, the drawing, and I went through the process of, we do a commission, you have to get things checked along the way. And it was maybe $1,000. It was all stainless steel, but she got a newspaper article written about it.
Wow.
It was super sweet, but it all came out of me going into the store and saying, hey, I really like the work you have here. First you want to find a place that's a fit. And then I was like, I make these candlestick holders. Maybe you'd like to sell a few of them. I give her 50%, I get 50%, maybe they were 100 and I got $50, something like that, and just little things. And then I invited her when I had a sculpture show and I had bigger things. She came, and then next thing I know, I have this commission,
Mm.
So you start somewhere.
Mhm.
All of us are in different places. Okay. I'm not thinking you guys are going to go out and get a massive, giant commission, and you might. Okay. Now, before I get too far, I want to just so anything you're hearing, Luna, in that, or anyone else in like starting somewhere?
I think what I'm struggling with for me personally is I'm trying to compare how you do it with how I do it, like commissions,
Yeah.
and how do you get to do the work you promise to the collector in a commission? And for me, because my work is each one is so individually different from the other, I'm beginning to see that commission, it like probably I need to get through a bigger body of work before I can say that I can do. No, you don't think so?
You just have
Okay.
to create a set of rules for the game.
Okay. But I think where I'm struggling is like first I couldn't reproduce the same work. Like I did it. Like I was bringing down a 2:3 ratio painting to a 2:4. So first of all, the ratio was off, so that changed the composition, and it wasn't clear. Like we didn't have a clear discussion of what they liked in it and what they expected me to reproduce. And so I did all the correct components. Like it had all the right ingredients, but it just didn't work. Like I could tell it didn't work. So I'm at that place where I'm still not confident about saying I can do that for you.
Oh, okay. So in your skill set, in your practice, and
Yeah, in my practice, like
yeah.
it's not, see, when artists they do like a series of work, like they create 10 paintings that look similar and have a common unifying theme. Mine don't. Mine have maybe a color palette, maybe some marks, but never really, it doesn't really look like a same version, a different version of that. So I think, maybe I'm also looking at, maybe I need to be clear what I can and cannot do in a commission. That
And
would be a great place to start.
commissions aren't for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to. There's a little bit of like, I'm just going to use a kind of slang term, which is, I'm just going to say there's a little bit of sometimes ass kissing.
Yeah.
A slang term, swear. That was recorded. Okay. So you could also look at it being nice and friendly. Like sometimes when I'm having conversations, it just started raining hard. Is that loud for you guys?
Okay.
No.
Sometimes I think about how I would be with my grandmother. She's a little rude. She's from Brooklyn, New York. She's kind of demanding, but I know she loves me.
Mm.
And sometimes I'm with a client and they're asking for stuff and they want it and and they have all these needs and wants, but I know they actually want my work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, do you guys mind if I screen share? There's two things. I have one I pulled up, but I'm going to show you a contract and how I kind of lay things out. Okay.
We'd love to
And
see
then-
your contract when you.
Yeah, you'd love to see a contract. Exactly.
Are you able to give us that as a resource?
Yes.
You
I'm
know,
going to put it on my list. Before we
long
leave,
form.
I'm going to make a list of all the things. So I'm going to show you a contract, but before I give anyone a contract, and I can't find that on my desktop, I have this newer computer. And I think I renamed it, but and I haven't sent one to anyone in a while. But I have a form where it's like how you want to work with me,
Right.
how it goes. So I mentioned that I've worked with this coaching group years ago for artists, for entrepreneurs. And she always talks about packages. So I was like, what do I have that's packages? She's like, don't work hourly, work for packages, chunks of something. So what I did is I created a document and it's how you can work with me. And then I spoke with a friend of mine that's a designer, like an interior designer. Sometimes there's some hourly billing, but it's like, I can do a living room, a bathroom, and a kitchen. I can get you all your cushions, your art, and
Right.
your da 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 da. You know, like there's different packages of what you're going to provide. So I created my own. I'm not going to show you that one right now,
Wow.
only because I can't find it in this moment and I don't have it ready for you. But it's what's organically come out of our conversation. Okay. So you're going to start somewhere. A good place to have is a set of rules for the game for you and the other person. Contracts work for both people. Okay. Now, I told you that I lost money on a project one time. Do you know why I did? I didn't abide my own contract. I didn't receive payment before the piece leaves my studio or upon arrival at the location. Because I know once I attach it to somebody's property, it belongs to them. It's really hard to get it back. I don't have control anymore. Okay. Now, that being said, before I show you this contract, I want to tell you, you know how I said to eat popcorn? I'm kind of backstepping before I show you the contract. You know how I said I had this image of the sculpture in the environment, like eat popcorn. Once they saw it in the space, they didn't want to let it go. Do you know I have sold a lot of paintings and small scale sculptures by bringing them to someone's home? 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I got a call from a collector of mine who had seen my work on the internet. No, I made a piece for, oh, did I just freeze? Shit.
Oh,
No?
no.
Okay. Sorry, I just swore again. So I made house letter signs for her. Do you know what I mean? Like I made metal numbers for her house so that the ambulance could find her because her husband would get called the ambulance every once in a while. And she was sweet and I left a good rapport. I asked if she wanted to stay on my newsletter to stay in touch. So every Thursday, I send a little message out that talks about shows that I'm in or things that are happening. And I always mention something in my studio sale. So a couple weeks ago, she sends me an email and she points to a piece on my website on the studio sale part. And she says, is this still available? I really like it. And it happened to be a week that I really wanted to have a couple, I was waiting on a couple big checks and a couple $1,000 sale was going to make a difference in me paying all my bills. Okay. So I said to her, I saw that she left her phone number. I didn't email her back. I called her. I said, Susan, it's so great to hear from you. Yes, that piece is available. If you'd like, I'm happy to bring it by your house so you can look at it in the space.
Smart.
Do you know that when someone sees a piece of art in their home,
And they like it.
you know, I also put a drill and some screws in my car too, so that I could attach it to her wall. I was prepared. Okay. I was prepared to sell her that piece right then.
Right.
She said she wanted it. I made it easy for her.
Right.
Okay. Doesn't always have to be long and involved and intricate. Within an hour and a half of looking at the email, I told her a time I was available. I said, I drive right through Ansley Park all the time. It's a neighborhood across from the High Museum. I said, I'd be more than happy to bring it by. I'll wear a mask. I'll just make it easy for you. You can look at it in the space. If you like it, there you go. You know, she's bringing her whole family to my studio this weekend so that they can come and look at art in my studio.
Oh, that's great.
Who knows what they're going to buy? I don't know, but I got to get the studio cleaned up because it's a mess right now. Okay. So it's always about forming relationships, but I have a set of rules. Now, Lavanya, you could, anyone that's interested in your paintings, right? Or Luna or Susan, you could say, why don't we get together? I'll bring over a couple pieces. You can choose if there's one that you like more than the other, or we could just see if it looks like a fit for you. All it takes is one person. You know, that client of mine that liked the calla lilies that I met after my studio got broken into? That was in 1997. Do you know we still are in touch?
Wow.
And do you know that in that year, after she bought that $2,000 calla lily chair, she bought a $2,000 calla lily and sunflower fireplace for her son Josh's house.
Wow.
And then her daughter, I can't think of her name right now, but her daughter, she commissioned me to make a fire screen And then the daughter's husband commissioned me to make a calla lily vase. All these things had calla lilies in them. And then her other daughter, Georgia, she didn't want a fireplace, but they had just redone the kitchen. So I made a backsplash, and guess what? It had calla lilies in it. All three of her kids got pieces that were over $2,000 over the next couple of years. And then do you know their best friends who also like to know they're at the forefront of collecting? Their best friends, I can't think of their names right now. Dick and Judy Allison. They bought a fire screen for me, but they wanted me to come over, this was a commission, and look at their garden and see what was growing and pick some plants that were related to that I saw in the garden that would be fun to make in metal. We made hostas and ferns.
Wow.
If any of you have been to my studio, you've seen I have a sample on the wall. I made that in 1998, maybe. That was all in 1 year, because when someone starts getting the work, I always make it fun and easy. People love to have an artist over for lunch. I always say, why don't we get together? And it's like, you're the entertainment. You can be the crazy, colorful Indian woman in your saris, or you can be the red-haired pole dancer that makes baby heads and has a cute, adorable son named Connor, or you can be the woman that lives by the wharf and you want to create your identity
Right.
as an artist. People love artists. They want to be with artists. It's only up here that we think we're different and don't need to make a living, and it's not a real profession. All right, I'm going to show you the contract, okay? Now, before the contract, I have the thing I told you from the designer. I'll look that up. I can't remember what I call it, a business agreement. No, it's a business quote. That's what I call it. And what it does is the packages. So you could get one drawing, $550, right? For if I'm thinking up an idea that someone wants to commission me, because a drawing, right? Or you could do a miniature painting, right? So I do one drawing, 550, two drawings, 850, three drawings, 1,200. That could be 3 different views or 3 different options. A confused buyer never buys. I never give anyone more than 3 options.
Right. When you say drawings, do you mean finished to put on your wall drawings?
Like a sketch. I do,
like a
if
sketch.
I'm doing an architectural piece,
Right.
like a fireplace or something like that, I don't do as many architectural pieces. But if I'm making a sculpture, here every once in a while I do an architectural piece, but I charge for the drawings. Architects charge
wow.
for drawings, right?
For the drawings? For the,
I charge for the drawings.
oh, I guess it takes
But
time.
can they make a piece of art on their own with using the drawings?
Good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you charge for that.
In my
That's
contract,
Worst case,
I own the drawings.
the worst case, if they buy the drawing, if they buy a drawing and then they decide they don't want to do it, you've gotten paid for your drawing,
No,
right?
I still own the drawing.
Oh, you don't.
They
you don't
can't
give it-
go have
they
someone
don't
else.
keep-
I could
oh,
sue
this
them
is
if I
for your
wanted.
time.
It
Oh.
has the C and the date. So you
You
sign
don't
it.
get to keep the drawing. They don't get to keep not really buying the drawing. They're paying for you to do the drawing.
They're
and you
paying
don't-
for my idea to be translated to them.
Wow, wow.
But have you ever had a landscape designer or an architect? Don't they do drawings?
Yeah, it's a they charge.
Yeah.
Some
They
don't. I
can
mean,
do
there's
it,
some
right?
places that don't, but yes.
Yes. Okay. Now there's apps. I haven't used this, but there's apps that you can get where you can put a painting above a couch. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
I've seen that.
So
Yes,
kind of
I
like
do
how
that.
quotes. Yeah. There's
I
apps.
use
There's,
them.
there's programs that you can visually make it. You don't have to lug the thing over to someone's place. But I think when you lug the thing over, when I told you how I had that big party at that, didn't I tell you guys that? I had that big party at that $9 million mansion.
Mhm.
And there's this
Yeah.
$13,000 sculpture in the front yard. And when I said, I'll come back and pick up the work next week, they said, listen, we don't want you to take that sculpture away. So I spent $2,000 on catering and valet and all that other good stuff, cheese and crackers and wine. And I did. I invested $2,000, but I made a $13,000 sale before I was done having that party.
Wow.
But sometimes
Wow.
you have to,
Spend money.
and those people met me. This is really funny how those people met me. I want to still show you. I'm going to show you the contract. I lugged my coal forge out to another studio in Marietta, called the
Okay.
Nun Complex, Luna, which might be a fun place. Don't you live in Marietta? They're always looking for people to have art studios up there. And they have a big open studio that happens there. Well, I don't know what they do in COVID time, but anyway. But I was a visiting guest artist because I'm fun, and I did a project with the engineer, with the woodworker who owns the whole thing. We built all this crazy stuff for these really, really crazy people. Sometimes people with a lot of money are just batshit crazy. They really are, and some are just normal, fine, whatever. But these people were crazy, and we built all this stuff together. So anyway, so he asked me to bring my forge out there and do blacksmithing demos because I was entertainment. Because guess what? People like being with artists because we're interesting. So I'm out there with my coal forge and I have these dirty business cards. I know they were dirty because I had a coal fire, right? And I probably had a table with a dirty cloth on it in some pieces. I wasn't that professional back then. It was like 20 years ago or something. But anyway, I'll never forget when this woman, she picked up my business card and she said, I really like that you're a woman and you're a blacksmith. And I built all the metalwork for their house. I built all the metalwork for their temporary house, which was a beautiful home. And then they built this $9 million mansion and they had me build all the metalwork. It was like over
Wow.
$2,000 worth of stuff. That's who I had the party at their house. Okay. But do you know how they met me?
From the
I was out there doing blacksmithing demos and I probably had a bandana on and maybe even overalls if it was a good day. You know, I was out there just being my character and myself. I probably had my crown sitting somewhere, right? Just making things in a different environment.
Right.
Okay. So you translate that into however you want to be. You know, some people do live painting outside during concerts or things like that. That might be something fun for you, Lavanya. You know, Luna, I don't know what you would do. Something fun. You could, when you next time you do a pole dancing performance, just set your art up on a table. Just bring your pole out to the street and have a table with your art on it, and it just says art for
I
sale.
am saving up for a stage pole. It's a special type of pole that you don't have to have fixed firmly to the floor and the ceiling. It has its own
Wait,
base. Yeah, because it's dangerous to not have it balanced correctly. So I
Yeah.
am saving up for one of those so I can do that.
yeah. You could talk to the Marietta Cobb Museum and you could say, I have this fun idea. You have this beautiful set of steps. I'd like to set up my pole. And then I have this artwork and I'd like to have, you know, I know the curator at the Marietta Cobb Museum. Okay. I have this fun idea.
That would be fun.
It would be a fun idea. I'm happy to introduce you to her, right? I
I
just did that in the moment. Okay. Susan, I think you need to cash in on the fishermen around you. I don't know why. It's the rope. All right. So
What's the contract?
I'm going to show you the contract. Hold on. All right. Is it working?
Says this looks like a form. You can easily fill and sign forms, send to others to sign and track responses. Oh,
Is it only showing you that blue thing? There we
yeah,
go.
that was all I was showing you is the blue thing.
Ugh, so annoying. My computer is doing this weird thing. Hold on. Let me do it again. Okay, here we go. I think I freed us of that stupid thing. Okay, great. You can see it. Oh, this is from 2017. It's an oldie but goodie. You know, this woman is younger than I am, and she hired me to make like over. And do you know that she took a blacksmithing class in my studio? Do you know why? Her daughter learned about blacksmiths in Pioneer Day at her school. And
Ah,
she thought if her daughter's going to learn about blacksmithing, she's going to learn about blacksmithing. Do you know I'm an opportunist? Someone comes in my door and they want to like learn about stuff. Great. We happen to be building a giant railing that was a tree railing. So here we go. These are the different, I think, I didn't look at this real close.
wow, $55,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, material costs. I mean, there's a lot of, you got materials in there.
Time. It's mostly labor, really.
Yeah, labor.
So, so these are all the different pieces that we were doing. Project A, Project B, Project C, Project D. They're all the different projects that we're working on in one place. And then here's a payment schedule.
Wow.
And then guess what? This is due now.
Okay.
And I always make note what's been paid. Okay, let's get down to the fine print. Hold on, let me get my glasses. So deposits and down payments and design fees are non-refundable. Okay. So before we got to this part, I did drawings for them and I charged $550 for the first one. But there were, did you see there were 4 projects?
Yeah.
So I think there was there was like $1,500 just in drawings.
Wow.
But I can go over to the cabinet and pull that drawing out and show it to you. They're
Wow.
quality drawings. And then, when I sit down to do a scale drawing, I'm not annoyed because I'm being paid for that because I'm planning out this whole project.
Right.
Okay. So, any change orders, this is the important one. So first of all deposits are on design fees are non-refundable. You're not going to give me a deposit and say, oh, I changed my mind.
Right.
I'm not going to do that after all. Oh, I'm sorry, you changed your mind.
You do 50% or do you do less for a deposit?
I do 60%.
Whoa.
You know why?
Why?
Because you have to buy all the materials, especially if it's a project where you're going to do a midpoint, they're going to come into your studio and look at the piece. I want to impress them.
Right.
So I don't want to be struggling to get the work done and get it to a point where you guys were at 8:14. Does it work if we go over a couple minutes for you guys?
Yeah, it works
Yeah.
for me.
Yes, you don't have to rush. Okay. This was, I'm so glad I didn't say, I have a headache, I can't come. I love doing this, by the way. I love teaching you guys the stuff that it took me years to learn.
Yep. We
Okay.
like it.
But someone a long time ago gave me a contract for me to cut and paste and change things. Do you know why they did? They got screwed on a job and they didn't want that to happen to me.
Right.
And it put them out of business.
Hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't
There
catch
was a
the
blacksmith many years ago, over 25 years ago. I wanted to work with him. And he had a number of things that happened. He injured his back. He was going through a divorce and he did a large project for some lawyers and they didn't make his final payment. And he went out of business. I mean, he was kind of on his way out anyway, but that getting screwed on the project was the final straw. He gave me a copy of his contract and I adapted it for my stuff, right? So this is very important. The first one, the second one, notice why they're first and second? They're really important.
First and second.
First and
Oh.
second, like agreements.
Right.
And it's only good for 30 days because guess what? After 30 days, the price of copper changes all the time. You know, Susan, that with gold, right?
Right.
You might move.
Right. Sure.
You might have a different set of variables that are your rent. Okay.
Right.
So these are the details and agreements. Okay. So any change order made in design or construction will incur additional fees after final drawings have been presented. So if I present a final drawing and they say, yes, we want to make that, and A, I start the project in metal, or B, they think about it and they say, I really want it to be, 25 different branches instead of 20 branches. That's a change order. I want the painting to be all blues. I don't want any pink. That's a change order.
Right. Like construction.
Yes, like construction, because I'm going to build something. You're going to go buy a canvas. Oh, I decided I didn't want a 30 by 30. I want a 40 by 40.
Right.
Well, bummer. I already bought the 30 by 30.
Right.
I never buy the materials for a project. I have this public art project for the city of Roswell. Over 6 months. And every week I'd call him. He'd say, oh, another 2 weeks. I helped them
For
fund
the
it.
check?
Huh? I got it finally.
Oh, you mean after you were already making it?
No, I never made it.
Oh,
One time we didn't have anything to do in the studio. We were in between projects and I said, well, I guess we could do the drawing for the Roswell project. And then when the check finally came, we were ready to start.
right.
But all we did was screw together some pieces of Luan and do a pen and pencil drawing.
Right.
Okay. All right. Due to intrinsic nature of these designs, any slight changes in reproductions to be made at Karina Mensoff's, my legal name is Mensoff, Karina Mensoff's discretion. Do you know what that does? It gives me a little artistic license. If they say, that's not exactly like the miniature you made, I say, exactly.
Exactly.
Or whatever I want to say. Because
Right.
it's hard as a human being to
Yeah.
replicate something exactly.
Well,
It's
that's what Lavania's saying. She can't.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's,
You're
yeah,
never gonna do it exactly the same. If
right,
you do it exactly the same, take
right,
a photograph and make a print.
right,
All
right.
right. Yes, all payments, all payments are to be made promptly throughout the project within 7 days of an invoice. So if I invoice you, I'm not going to wait 30 to 90 days.
Right.
Okay. Just get your stuff ready. Let's see. Production and installation payments will be paid in full prior. Do you notice that that's in bold? Prior to installation.
Right.
So I give an estimate for the installation and they pay that before I even install it.
Right. Right.
Sometimes they pay it afterwards if we're really going hourly. Okay. Contract price includes so sometimes the contract I will specify. So I change. I use this as a Word doc and I cut and paste things. Okay. Because this has changed, but these are the basic things. Okay. Dates may vary slightly for phase 1 and 2 and production. So I'll usually give time estimates when so they can expect it. And if I know it's taking longer, I am in communication ahead of time because I'm professional. And I said I would. All works remain the property of Karina Mensoff until payment is made in full. Okay. Even if they pay that 60% deposit and then they change their mind and they want to cancel the order and they say, I want a refund. Sorry, buddy.
Right. Right.
Or they want to take my designs to somebody else and have them try and build it cheaper. Sorry, buddy. I own it. Artist holds all copyright for designs and drawings. There, I just said it again. You say it in a couple different ways. These may not be reproduced or used without the written consent of Karina Mensoff.
Right.
Okay. After the initial consultation meetings are $100 an hour. I usually charge more than that
Wow.
actually. Why? Now,
No, I didn't say why. I said, wow, boy,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just giving away
well,
all my time.
why is because I built a door for the Ark of the Covenant for a Jewish temple, and they wanted me to come meet for 2-hour meetings with the donor, the architect, the rabbi. I'm like, I don't have a full staff back there making the work. I'm not going to come and sit in these long meetings. I learned that's why that's in there. Now, I don't usually charge.
Oh, you don't charge for the initial.
No,
consultation.
my initial consultation.
Oh, after, if you, oh, right, after the
Yeah.
initial.
Why would my
Okay.
initial consultation be free?
Oh, it isn't?
It is.
Oh,
But
yeah,
why,
that's what I'm
why
saying.
would I have that be free?
To get, yeah, I don't know, goodwill, I don't know.
When I'm going to make the sale.
it-
That's when I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
meet them. They're
just-
going to fall
right,
in love with
right.
me, and they're going
Yeah.
to want to have a
Right,
project created,
right,
right?
right.
I'll do some rough thumbnail sketches.
Right, sure, I get it.
You know what I mean? So we're all on the same page. I
Yeah.
like that because I always think of that first meeting like I'm a detective.
Sure.
I'm getting inside their brains. The more questions I ask, I used to ask questions like, do you like symmetry or asymmetry?
Right.
Do you like organic or geometric? You know?
Sure, because you have to get a sense of what, right.
And then I always bring a portfolio and they can look through and they say, oh, well, I like this, and I like this.
Right, right.
You know, I was selected by the mayor's office for the city of Decatur to do a project. I brought out I brought a folder of some of my public art pieces and I don't know, some article or some awards. I brought something that says I'm great, okay, on paper. And they looked through and they said, we really love how you have this nest in this piece and we love how you have these da 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 da. And do you
Right.
think it's possible to come, you know, to take some of the elements of those? And I said, yes, that's possible.
Mhm. Right.
All right, after the, meetings, I just say that I charge for meetings, but I rarely do I really charge for them. It's only, I like to have the power to say that
Yes,
if they get excessive and they want to meet all the time,
right.
because my time is valuable. I charge more than $100 an hour now. This is from 2017. Okay, all samples, but when I first started my business, you guys, I was leaving a job where I got paid $10 an hour. So I thought, I'm doing my own thing now. I should charge $20 an hour. And then one day I was like, I should charge $35 an hour.
Right.
And then I was dating this guy that was a sculptor and he charged $60 an hour. And I said, he's going to charge $60 an hour to make the stuff he makes. I'm charging $60 an hour.
Right.
And then I charged $100 an hour. Now I charge usually around $125 an hour, depending on what we're doing, you know. All right, so after the initial consult, all samples and maquettes and drawings remain the property of Karina Sephora. Once the metalwork is installed, the commissioning clients and collectors are the owners of the work. No reproductions to be made of the original metalwork by the artist or the client. Now, I've changed that on different ones. Sometimes people say, we don't want you to make the same thing for someone else,
Oh, right.
right? They want to remain having the original. Okay, artist Karina Mensah has permission to photograph the work. I always put that in because
Right.
sometimes on pieces that are permanently installed, I want to be able to come back when there's no construction mess and take pictures.
Right, right.
And if they're like, sorry, lady, you can't come in this house or you can't come into this office, I'll be like, says it in the contract.
Right.
Okay, unpaid balance subject to an interest charge of 1.5% per month. Upon final invoice date. So from the day that I make an invoice, I've never had to do this, but it's there in case I did get someone that just wanted to drag it out. If there was any legal situation, the client pays the legal fees for both parties if need be. His lawyers and my lawyers. I've never had to use that one either.
Wow.
All right. That was a lot, wasn't it?
That's great though. No, it's good.
But I spell it all out. I spell out what this is. This is the tentative schedule for production. I will update as the project moves along. I provide a description of what I'm doing. Oh, and I always do a little in this project section, forge and fabricate. I just say what I'm doing. 4 railings made from forged and fabricated solid and hollow steel to create tree forms as railings for the stairs, landing and balcony, and 3rd floor. 3 trees, da 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 da. So I just describe what I'm going to do.
Can I ask a question about pricing? And I don't want to get into a whole philosophical thing or make
Yeah.
it long, but do you use do you do it like when I'm, in jewelry, I would do my gold price times a certain amount, kind of like they do in catering.
Yeah.
Materials times whatever. Is that what you do? I mean, you don't really, you don't charge $125 an hour for 4,000 hours of work. I mean, you don't really charge time, right? I mean, or do you do it based on materials and then can take
I
it
have a
consideration
couple,
time?
yeah, I have a couple different ways that I do it. I mean, there's a formula, which is you figure out what your overhead is.
Oh, right, the
From
overhead.
your overhead, you figure out what is your hourly.
Right.
And then you kind of compare that to, well, what do I want to make? I mean, like, as I say this, like,
Weigh it all out and you figure out also
yeah,
based on what
and
you think
then
the
you
market
say,
can bear.
what will the market bear?
Right, well, the market bear, right.
But I started out, I was making $10 an hour working for somebody else. And I thought, well, I'm working for myself now. Why not charge 20?
Right.
I, that just seemed like it made sense. It was kind of a guesswork. So as far as charging, there's time and materials. So you figure out how much time it's going to take you, right? Sometimes my studio assistant, every once in a while, will do a repair for someone. And I say it's a base rate of $50. It's $125 an hour. We'll keep track of the time. I estimate it's going to be $250.
Right.
I don't do a lot of repairs, but sometimes I'll do a little repair here or there just because you don't have to put everything in the landfill, and we have metal tools and we can do that. And sometimes we can just fit it in, Anyway, we are going, I want to end by 8:30. That'll be 15 minutes over. So, and then I base it on previous projects. Right. Like, okay, I made this piece and it was this big. Railings I charge per foot. You might do that with your rope work, Susan.
I have a whole bunch of them, but I do actually, I started doing prescription.
And then you can kind of check yourself, say, I
Right,
think
based on what I've gotten before and what I can get away with. And
I think I can get this done in 3 weeks. Okay,
Right.
what do I really want to make in 3 weeks? Now hourly, sometimes if I have an installation and I'm billing hourly for an installation or something like that, then I say, oh, or like these repairs. We did a couple repairs in the last couple weeks. And so if I'm gonna do a repair, I just say it's a $50 flat rate no matter what. And then we'll look at the project, because some people say, oh, it's going to be nothing. And then you're like, oh, I've got 2 stools with 4 legs each, and we've got to cut each one down and then weld the thing back on there. you know, and it took
Well,
3
you're
of them.
not just talking about repairs on the pieces you've made. You're talking about people call you for repairs on pieces you might not have made.
Yeah, and I don't do it very often, but you know,
Mhm.
I have this studio assistant
Mhm.
and I just like to make sure his overhead is paid, you know.
Right.
Now
I actually don't charge for installations.
I pay,
I have them pay my, my travel and expenses, and then I tell them I waive my installation fee. But I don't pay, but they have installers.
well, your time is still there.
I
So
know,
I would-
and as I get more and more, I've been new. I'm still kind of new. So,
I don't know, was that helpful to see a contract?
yes.
And they always look different depending on what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
super helpful, super helpful.
Okay, I'll stop share. All right, anyone have any specific questions based on something? We've got 2 minutes left in our overtime here.
No, I mean, I might have. I'll post it in the group. I need to go.
Yeah,
But I did want to ask if you could give us access to these recordings.
okay. Was helpful?
Yeah, because going back and listening kind of is great, especially when I'm in the dump. So,
In the dump?
okay. I mean, feeling low and feeling overwhelmed. It's great to kind of when you talk, I feel so inspired. But when I go back to do the work, oh my god, it's never gonna happen for me. I should probably just not try.
Hey,
So
and you know what happened when I first opened up my business and I stopped working for other people?
yeah.
Studio got broken into and everything I had got stolen.
Oh, that's
Oh, wow.
terrible.
But do you know what came out of that? Do you remember that client I said with the calla lilies?
Right. Did you have
So-
insurance? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
Every
Loretta.
loss, my dad used to say, every loss makes room for a greater gain. Oh, and by the way, that same set of clients, I know you got to go, Lavanya. That same set of clients, they're founding partners in one of the biggest law firms in Atlanta, King and Spalding Law Firm. And do you
really?
know I would invite them to every art show that I had? And do you know that I have a piece of sculpture on the 34th floor of
Wow.
that collection of that law firm?
Wow.
But I met them after my studio got broken into in the first year that I stopped working for other people.
Wow.
I took a 2-week sick leave from my job working as a welder and I fixed up my studio
Wow.
and I
Wow.
had 2
Wow.
commissions on my calendar.
What year was that? What year was that?
1997.
Oh, 97. Bye.
So
First shop was a tarp out behind my house.
Oh, good for you.
for me, the contracts and stuff are less helpful to see.
Yeah.
It's more of the conversation, because I feel, again, I just feel like, oh, it's all the stuff that I've learned from working for other people, and it's just applying it here. So it's more the discussion that's helpful for me.
Luna, do you want me to introduce you to the curator for the Marietta Cobb Museum?
I would love that. Sure.
And I mean, wouldn't that be a fun thing to have a pole dancer out in the street? If anything, it would like get people's attention.
That would
That's
be a lot of fun.
cool happening. I mean, you might have to kind of PG it up a little bit, like not wear short shorts.
I have sticky pants, because
Yeah.
you can't
You have to-
do regular long pants or you'll fall.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like maybe not all the butt cheek hanging out.
Right.
Although it's cute as can be. I wish my butt cheeks looked so cute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And Susan, why don't you take a stab at what you want to say?
Right.
Okay. And put it in our Facebook group, or if you feel shy, you can messenger it to me, but
No, I'm
share
not
it with
shy.
everybody. Okay. And
Yeah,
then
I'm
I'll make some suggestions and I'll look for the letter that I can post for you guys too.
And by the way, I got a response pretty quickly from that writer who
Oh.
I've been wanting to write about me for a long, long time. And I just felt like I wasn't ready. And she said, yes, I'd love to. And she referred to me as maybe just a world-class artist like yourself is, living and working in Maine is enough, because she was asking me all these other questions.
That's so
I
great.
giggled. I thought that was funny, but so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if she'll do it. And I also got an email from some art consultancy, kind of art advisory, that wants to, work
Come
with me. But we'll see.
on.
But it's just interesting how, one thing, when you're doing something and you bring that energy, all
Yeah.
of a sudden other things happen.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So I'll take a stab at the curator for the Portland Museum.
We didn't really talk much about making the list, but if you guys
Can
make a
I
list,
get my item before we go?
huh?
Can I share my current project before we go?
Yeah, share.
So for me, I'm going back and rephotographing my stuff
Good.
and making a website. And I think I posted on Facebook where I'm gonna use the service rather than make it myself because I hate making websites, even though I understand how to do it. It makes me angry.
Yeah.
So I never do it,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't get done.
Yeah. You can update it once it's up. You can make it fancy. I use Squarespace.
I'm going to use Squarespace because I really hate coding. Whenever I try to do it, I want to throw my computer out the
Well,
window.
most people
Yeah.
don't know coding. Anyway,
Yeah,
Well, I work in tech though, so it's
Yeah.
kind of, it's different.
great. Well, I have
Oh,
crappy railings at the house I used to live in.
Oh, and I'm doing a postcard, a new postcard based on.
Great.
based
Look
on
at
your
you.
suggestion.
Share what you're up
I
to.
will. I haven't designed it yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, share in our Facebook group because and I'll share a little bit about the Chicago project too, okay? Because when you share what you're up to, it inspires the other
Right,
people. It's
it
part of why
does.
we have the community.
Right.
All right. What was the most valuable thing you got out tonight? And then we're gonna go. Luna?
Well, what I said before was more the discussion
Okay.
that was helpful for me.
For me, it was the public art and the contract, even though I have a contract that I've used, but yours is more thorough. But the public art part, because I really do want to do public art, and two of the things you said are really great quotes about. Go ahead.
See if there's a public art panel and ask to be a panelist. Say, you know what? I
Yeah.
would love to volunteer my time, to contribute my time to be a panelist. Do you know it's the best
Okay.
education you'll ever get?
You mean that you would be there to choose?
Yeah. You
Oh,
always need an artist. They
Oh.
always need an artist. Say, I have some experience in public art. You could be straight up, say, I want to do more public art and I want to see what quality proposals look like.
right.
And you know, I've made public art pieces before and I'm in this course and the person does a lot of public art and she said, go be on a panel.
Right. Well, that's a good idea.
It's
Right.
the best education and you're helping them.
Right.
And then you learn. I was a panelist and it was on a couple of different things. I've been panelists and it's prestigious. You're offering and giving of your time. You're interacting with the community. Everyone that you talk to is now got you on the radar that you
Right.
care about that area. And you sit there and you listen to those people, grill the people. Do you think I just thought of, oh, let me do research about an area? No.
Right.
I
You get
heard
to
other
see
people
behind the
do that.
scenes. Right. You see behind the scenes, which is really, that's so great. Because I always am so curious. I'm sure we all are, like what makes them pick someone? Like why, what's the criteria? Why did they
Go
pick
be
this
on a
person?
panel.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, I have got to go. I'm so
All
tired.
right.
Okay.
Well,
It was
thank you
great
so
to be
much.
with
This
you.
was great.
Yeah. I
Appreciate
feel
it.
way more enlivened than I did before we started the call. So share on Facebook and I'll share on Facebook in our group and share in the regular Facebook with other people what you're up to also.
What a regular, there's a regular Facebook group?
Well,
that you
there's
do?
our group, which is private. Do you know one
Oh.
time I did a challenge where I showed my work every day for 5 days or 7
Oh,
days?
yeah, sure. I've done
I got
that.
invited to be in a museum show somewhere.
Oh, wow. Well, I haven't gotten invited. My dad, that's a great idea. Wow, that's good. Okay.
Just
Well,
do
thank
it.
you.
Like, I had a challenge. I was challenged to show my work. If you feel shy about it and don't want to be
I've
boastful,
done those challenges on Facebook. I get,
yeah.
yeah.
And things happen because guess what? People see your work every day. And then after I do a challenge, I'm like, why don't I just do this all the time?
Right.
Good night, ladies.
All right. Good night. Take
Bye.
care. Good luck with your mold.
God,
Bye.
I'm staying across from the High Museum. I created that this would be a fun adventure. I didn't use the word fun, but I created it would be an adventure.
Right.
All right. So I won't see you next week, but I'll see you the following week.
Oh, okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Happy birthday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.